Hello, Tallahassee. Thanks for hanging out with us here on our Thursday, September 21st edition of FSU Weather. I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
And I am student meteorologist Tevin Wooten. We had a nice day today. Started out nice, at least, and then some rain kind of stuck in there on us.
A couple of minutes ago, I was pretty much describing it as July, the continuation of July. Those highs got up around the 90-degree point around here, nice and sticky too, so feeling like 100. And then 2, 3 o'clock, everything just breaks loose, and thunderstorms really all over the area except for the extreme northern parts of the Big Bend.
I know for meteorologists and weather lovers like ourselves, it was nice to watch the outflow boundaries on radar, right? That's always one thing that we like to see here, especially in the Panhandle. You get all those convergences in one spot, and it's free-for-all.
Yeah, not exactly the best, though, when you're trying to get out of class, go around campus between classes, as this was falling right in between that 3:15 to 3:35 window that FSU has. So not exactly, umbrellas. We still urge that. Summer's not over, and the hot temperatures are going to be sticking around here. But for a little bit more of a detailed look here, we have Sammy Squires out at the wall with an overview of what's to come tonight.
Thank you, guys. Yes, we are going to look at the overview, but first, let's look at this cloud coverage coming through from yesterday. You could see all of the clouds coming through and them dissipating throughout the day, all the way until night. So, very interesting clouds that came through yesterday. Today's almanac, we hit a high of 89 degrees, which is right above the average. Not quite close to the record, though. Our satellite is showing a few showers that popped up during the day, and they will dissipate throughout the rest of the night, though. Tonight's forecast will be 71 degrees, showers before 8 p.m., and then it will be partly cloudy. And a look at our weather headlines. We have hot days to stay, fall tomorrow, and rain possible for Saturday. Now we are going to take a look back at the desk.
All right, Sammy, thank you so much for that. And we've been talking about, Hurricane Maria right now, but and such devastation that it brought about to parts of Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands. But we're also talking about Hurricane Irma and what it did to us here in Florida. The widespread effects are still being felt today.
With how massive of a storm it was, really the entire state, except for the far western panhandle, of course, saw impacts with this. And these impacts are still ongoing, where we still have these kinds of cleanups, debris cleanups going on all across the state. As you said, Jacksonville beaches started their cleanup earlier in the week, and we have some school closures still going on as well.
Lee County and Fort Myers and Naples, that area, those areas, southwest Florida, still out of school and will likely go back on Monday, hopefully. But one of the things you have to remember is those schools are also impacted, so they've had to work to restore those back to the best condition they can. And there's students coming back, and they work to shelters. So, a lot going on in southwest Florida.
Yeah, University of Miami also still closed, likely to, again, reopen on Monday. But for now, I'm going to take things back out to the wall with a little bit more of a detailed look at what's going on here locally. Currently in Tallahassee, we're sitting at 75 degrees. That light rain's still falling. It was rather chaotic around here around, say, 3:30 in the afternoon. You see the humidity at 96%. Not really much in terms of wind going on around here, but again, conditions are gradually improving, but still a bit of a wet one out there for that just past the rush hour commute here. You really see those storms blowing up on radar around 2 p.m. Once we got that temperature up to about 90 degrees, you allow that convection to occur, and you really see what happened there. These outflow boundaries coming out from the centers of these storms, triggering even more thunderstorms, a sort of chain reaction kind of process, which is why we had such a widespread rain event that was essentially confined to the Florida Panhandle, although some of the Nature Coast got involved a little bit too. The high temperatures, again, right around the 90-degree point anywhere where we have the data. And 90 degrees in Quincy. We hit 92 in Mariana. That was the high spot today. 88 down by the coast in Apalachicola. Not really much wind, so you don't really see too much of that temperature moderation across the area. Here's the temperatures right now. 70s pretty much almost anywhere except for our southern Georgia counties. We're at 84 in Thomasville and 81 over in Bainbridge. But the rain cooled. You feel like it's more comfortable, but those dew points still being up in the 70s doesn't exactly make things that much better, even with the rain still falling. Light and variable on the winds, not really telling too much of a story here. Out of the north in Apalachicola, so not as much of that, sort of water interaction that keeps those high temperatures down just a little bit, which is why we tried to crack 90 down by the coast. The dew points, again, still really high, feeling very summer-like out there despite the cooler temperatures. 75-degree dew point in Thomasville, 74 here in Tallahassee. And Carabel, the only place down in the 60s right now. Let's look at what's going to be happening in the future here. So once we go through the evening, these storms are going to begin to die off and set up for, again, another very summer-like sort of partly cloudy night ahead. We get to Friday, and you have the chance of a stray shower really anywhere across the state, but otherwise looking like a slightly drier day than what we had here today. So a pretty good picture. For Saturday, once we get to about the 12 o'clock kickoff here, you see that cloud cover begin to build in. A mostly cloudy day is going to be setting up, which could be a good thing for us in terms of keeping those temperatures just a little bit down for kickoff, as those noon games often get really hot in September. We could see some rain with that, though, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. And again, umbrellas are not allowed inside Doak Campbell Stadium, so be sure to bring a poncho because it could be a wet one at some point during this football game, especially later on in the day. If you're going to be planning out the rest of your evening, we could still be seeing rain here a little bit after our show ends here at 84 degrees, and then once that sun goes away, cooling back down into the mid-70s, partly cloudy night setting up ahead, although it's going to be a little bit muggy out there. Tomorrow's forecast, we're at 90 degrees, 20% chance of rain, and that would be after 2 p.m. Pretty similar picture to today, although less widespread in that rain coverage. And if we go on to the 5-day outlook, well, a pretty similar picture. Saturday at a 50% chance of rain, temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s. Now it's off to Tevin with a look at the southeast.
Thank you so much for that, Jake. We're taking a look at the southeast right now, and it's sort of like a little hit or miss or a mixed bag of things going on. We've got temperatures in Montgomery, Alabama, 93 degrees, but take a look at Tallahassee, 75 and cool, so to speak, because of the rainfall that we had come down just a few hours ago. Savannah, Georgia at about 87 degrees, and Orlando at a nice 86 if you're going to some of the parks this weekend. Hopefully it won't be too bad, maybe a few spotty showers. My home state of Arkansas at about the 90-degree range right now. And you can see those clouds on radar, and that's where we sort of had that rain develop earlier today. This is just the satellite and radar composite here, and as we start to put this into motion, you can see where those showers start to pop up, not only in the Big Bend area of Tallahassee down to Apalachicola, but also for some parts of the coastal parts of Texas, all the way up to really Houston and even some spots of Louisiana. So we had sort of a mixed bag of things going on weather-wise. Weak areas of high pressure giving way to some rainfall. Watches and warnings right now, not much to talk about, just a few severe thunderstorm warnings in the central and southern parts of Georgia there, west of Savannah. And as we take a look at the futurecast radar, you can see that we will likely have on and off showers tonight, but that continues for tomorrow, especially as you get back to Jackson, Mississippi and Montgomery, Alabama. Some stronger areas there indicated in the red to orange, but down towards the coast of southwest Florida, there's also some storms too. So really that will continue throughout the weekend because of the weaker areas of high pressure. But as we go to the 3-day forecast for Charleston, it's going to be about 20% chance of showers on your Friday, 86 degrees. But by Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at 85 and about 84 on Sunday. Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, they're going to be in the upper 80s this weekend. It doesn't look too bad there either. 89 for Friday, Saturday, 88 on Sunday. Lows in about the upper 60s. Little Rock, Arkansas, hello to you. Little Rock, not the Big Rock, but they're doing big time things this weekend. Temperatures 91 for Friday, 91 for Saturday, 2 for highs. By Sunday, though, we're dropping down into the the upper 80s with a slight chance of rainfall there. Asheville, North Carolina, also not faring too bad. Look at that, 82 degrees. I would love to trade some upper 80s for some lower 80s right now, especially with the sweltering heat and humidity that we have here in southwest Florida. The rest of the southeast tonight, not faring too bad in the lower 70s, 70 for Montgomery and Atlanta and Tupelo, 73 for Little Rock, 74 for Shreveport. Tomorrow, we do warm back up, but we've got some more clouds in the forecast, more potential rainfall for places like Central Florida, Orlando at 89 degrees tomorrow and warm. Tallahassee, we do have a spotty chance for showers tomorrow and a mix of clouds as well. It looks like we're not faring too bad, and we'll leave you with a look of yesterday's sky cam here in Tallahassee. Looks great out there. Well, it did yesterday and looks about the same right now. Now let's send things over to Jake. He's in the lab. Jake, what do you got?
Well, Tevin, I got a little bit more of a seasonal outlook for what we can be expecting around Tallahassee going forward. So on Tuesday, I kind of teased this little talk about La Nina. This is a pattern that's going to be settling in, at least is likely to, over the Pacific Ocean, and I wanted to kind of break down what this is and how it's going to be affecting both hurricane season and potentially our winter weather here around town. So let's get this started with what exactly is La Nina? Well, it's a period of unusually cool temperatures that's over the western and central Pacific Ocean. This is the opposite of El Nino, which many of you may have heard of here. It's considered to be a part of this ENSO cycle, the El Nino Southern Oscillation phenomenon, which is basically just an oscillation of sea surface temperatures out over the open Pacific Ocean. And it seems like, you know, it wouldn't have too much of an impact for us considering it's so far away out in the Pacific. But it actually does influence really the global weather pattern, or at least across the entire northern hemisphere. So this is really what we're going to be looking at when it comes to La Nina's influence on weather in this graphic courtesy of NOAA here. What you basically have is this high pressure that gets set up just to the north of these cooler temperatures. You can imagine this as a sort of blocking system. So this jet stream that typically brings us some of our cooler temperatures kind of associated with those troughs, ridges that you may have heard us been talking about. A lot of the cooler temperatures like to be on the north side of this, and when the jet stream dips, that's when we get some of our coldest weather, when we'll have those freezing nights down in the 20s occasionally from time to time. So this high pressure kind of blocking that from making its southward march through the lower 48. That's what's going to be setting up for a drier and warmer winter potentially if this really does kick in over the next couple of months. That's not necessarily to say that every day is going to be 10 degrees warmer than the average. It's just averaged out over the entire season. We should expect to see a little bit less rainfall, a little bit warmer on those high and low temperatures. When it comes to hurricane season, we tend to see this kind of ridging pattern over the Atlantic. What happens with that, you decrease the wind shear, which is the vertical change in wind with height. And what that does is kind of help to organize these tropical cyclones, these hurricanes, and it favors more hurricane activity and potentially some stronger storms as well. So when we look at this, we could be seeing a more active end to this hurricane season than normal. It's already been a pretty active one, so of course we are hoping that we're done here, that Maria would be the end and we wouldn't have to see anything else this year, but we should expect to see a couple more as we're only just, about 10 days removed from the peak of hurricane season. So in review, what we should be expecting for Tallahassee here, a warmer and drier winter than average, which is of course good for all you South Floridians out there. But remember, this is over the entire season, so we could still see our fair share of freezing nights and hopefully for this northerner, maybe even a little bit of sleet. But for now, we're going to go back out to Tevin, who's at the wall with a national look.
All right, thanks, Jake. Appreciate it. Now, it is the last full day of summer, so we're going to take a look at the big picture and show you what's going on for this last full day. Fall starts tomorrow at 4:02 Eastern Time, so set the clocks. Get ready for it. It's going to be the best transition to pumpkin spice lattes ever, I promise. We've got some high pressure right now over Dallas and parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma, all the way over to some parts of Atlanta. So if you're wondering why they're a little bit warmer than we were today, that's part of the reason why. Look at that, Dallas at 96 degrees. Incredibly warm today. We were only at about, or 96 right now, rather. That's hot. I can guarantee you it probably feels like about 102, 105 somewhere out there. 87 and thunderstormy in New Orleans, and 75 and cool in Tallahassee with some light rain showers continuing as we had those thunderstorms pop up earlier today. The 24-hour weather change in the upper Midwest and down to the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles, about 10 degrees warmer yesterday than this time right now. But look where it's a little bit cooler is Salt Lake City, Utah, 21 degrees cooler than this time yesterday, and San Francisco even doing a good job of cooling down. Relatively speaking, the air is much drier near Denver, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Phoenix, Arizona. So in the desert Southwest, only 8% humidity right now, 15% for Albuquerque, and 16% for Phoenix. And here's why. You can see that drier air aloft. This is about 20,000 feet higher in the atmosphere, but you can see where the moisture is here for us in the Big Bend, right where that convection popped up earlier today, showing you on the water vapor loop right now. Take a look at this. This is the severe weather outlook for tomorrow. So we've got a slight risk of severe weather in the upper Midwest, places like Minneapolis, South Dakota, and North Dakota. But then all the way down to Texas and the Panhandle, a marginal risk. So not too much severe weather to talk about across the country. We do have some red flag warnings for parts of, it looks like Nebraska and Oklahoma, or Kansas and Oklahoma, excuse me. But we've also got some flood warnings where we do not want them right now, Central Florida, South Florida, because of Hurricane Irma, and seeing any more rainfall right now. The ground is already saturated. We don't want any more of rainfall for that area, unfortunately, and it looks like they're going to continue getting it. Memphis, Tennessee, 75 degrees tonight and cool. Look at this, 40 degrees in Billings, Montana and cool, 43 for Salt Lake City, and 57 for San Francisco. Can you see the front? I think I see somewhat of a front right here. Minneapolis down to Albuquerque, 5 degrees or 10 degrees cooler behind the front than where we're looking at for Dallas and places like San Antonio, Texas at 77 tonight. Tomorrow, it is not going to be cool. It's going to be warm in San Antonio, 93 in San Antonio, 94 for Dallas. And of course, Here in Tallahassee, we're going to be about the 90-degree range with some thunderstorms possible tomorrow too. And with that, let's send things over to Ms. Sammy Squire. She's got to look at your local forecast.
Thank you, Tevin. So right now we are sitting about 75 degrees, a little bit chillier than we experienced the first half of the day. The dew point is higher on 74 degrees, which means it is pretty moist. Look at that humidity, 96%. Current temperatures, like I said, 75 Tallahassee, 80 in Panama City, all the way 93 in Montgomery. So it's a little bit warmer up there. Our dew point in Tallahassee, 74, 68 in Panama City. So it is quite moist around most of Florida and southern Georgia. Our, our hurricane season, I don't know why we're on this one, but the tropical update is crazy for all the hurricanes that have been happening lately. But we are actually going to take a look back at the local. With our current winds, we are 0 in our area, Valdosta also 0, and Panama City 0. But we range up to 10 over in Savannah and 10 in Orlando. Our satellite is showing a few of the storms that just passed through our area and moved throughout Jacksonville right now. We could see a lot of moist air that just passed through our area along with that storm, of course. And it will dissipate throughout the day. Our 7-day forecast is showing an increase in rainfall, especially on Saturday for game day. But our temperatures are going to be pretty consistent, around 90, 89, all the way to 92 on Thursday. For now, we are going to take it off to Jake with the tropics.
All right, thanks a lot, Sammy. You had a little bit of a teaser there talking about the pretty active tropical update that we have going for you guys here. Hurricane Maria is still out there. It is still a beast, and Tropical Storm Jose is still drifting off just east of the New England states in the Atlantic here. So we have Maria as a Category 3 hurricane currently. It did reach Category 5 intensity a couple of days ago, and here we have Jose, which is still a tropical storm. That also reached Category 4 intensity, so we've had multiple in a row. And we got Ghost 16 now at FSU Weather, so a pretty detailed satellite view. This data is preliminary and non-operational, but it really shows you everything that's going on here. A much bigger eye with Maria than it had before its landfall in Puerto Rico, and therefore it's a little bit more stable. You see storms that have these 40-mile wide eyes. A little bit more stability here, a little bit more resistance to these intensity changes. So you can expect Maria to be fairly consistent over the next couple of days in terms of maintaining its Category 3 intensity, potentially a strong Cat 2 along those lines. So here's the cone for Maria. This is as of 5 p.m., so the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. And you see that when it made its landfall over Puerto Rico and completed this eye wall replacement cycle at the same time, the wind field kind of expanded outwards here. So you had this one eye wall sort of converging on the other, which is another reason why you see the bigger eye right now. So the hurricane force wind field has expanded a little bit, which is why we had these hurricane warnings out for the really the entire eastern Bahamas here. And tropical storm watches also in effect. Not quite, not getting anywhere near Florida or even the western Bahamas, but expanding just a little bit further off to the west because this is a growing storm, even if its intensity has reduced just a little bit. And here's our 60-hour wind forecast kind of showing you the track as well as the winds of Maria here. You see the strongest winds really on the northern eye wall of this storm here, maintaining this big eye. Again, this theme of stability with the storm. You're not going to be expecting too much of an intensity change as that cone has shown you. So missing Florida. That's really the big thing that we're thankful here for. And drifting a little bit east, or a little bit east of the Bahamas here. And we're going to be looking at potential impacts later on when it comes to areas like, say, Bermuda or the northeastern United States, depending on the trends of this storm going forward. Here's Tropical Storm Jose, again, with Ghost 16 imagery, and it no longer has that distinct sort of hurricane shape to it. The southern side of the storm has essentially been cut off. But still bringing a lot of rainfall into New England here, as well as tropical storm force winds. Another one of these kinds of storms that when it makes this transition towards an extratropical storm, it really begins to expand outwards, and you can feel that 40-mile-per-hour wind hundreds of miles out from the center. And this is over the last 12 hours. You see the storm essentially being rather stationary, not really doing too much here. It is weakening, thankfully. We're going to be seeing how that interacts with Maria in these next couple of days as well. For now, let's go back to the desk where Sammy and Tevin are standing by.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Maria does with Jose and how they interact. I know a lot of people anticipate the Fujiwara effect sometimes. This may not happen in that case, but we will certainly see some sort of enhancement. Just depends along the eastern seaboard where that happens. But one thing that we're also seeing right now from Hurricane Maria is devastation across San Juan and the island of Puerto Rico. 18 people have died, 15 of which were in Dominica from this Cat 4 storm that made landfall just yesterday morning.
Yeah, a lot of Puerto Rico is in ruins, unfortunately. I know the airport is unfortunately in shambles. But yeah, there are a lot of devastating things that have happened.
Some of the officials there are saying that the entire island is without power. That's 3.6 million people without power. And I know that you can correlate that to us here in the United States. What does that mean?
That's equivalent to New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Maine all combined. So
Wow.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to take more than thoughts and prayers. We're going to have to actually get out and help those people because a lot of people don't understand. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, so that made landfall in the U.S. It was not a landfall, the mainland. It was the territory. So
Yeah, but now we're going to take it off with Jake with trivia.
All right, thanks a lot, Sammy and Tevin. We're back with our first trivia question here of the fall, bringing back an old favorite from last year. Here's our first question, which we have on our Twitter account. We will be answering this tomorrow, and we got a question on Twitter from David, who asked, first of all, the question is, when does fall start? His question was meteorological versus astronomical fall, and the answer here is it's astronomical fall. We're not considering meteorological, so you can actually eliminate one of these answer choices, and if you've been paying attention, you actually heard the answer on our show a couple of times already. So again, we'll have the answer for you tomorrow. Choices are August 1st, September 1st, September 22nd, or August 22nd. So again, we'll answer it for you tomorrow. And for now, we're going to go back out to Sammy, who's at the wall with a look around the state of Florida.
Yes, we are going to take a look around Florida. In Tallahassee, we are sitting around 75 degrees, but it is much warmer around southern Florida, 91 in Tampa. And 90 Fort Myers, they are experiencing sun right now, while we are still experiencing light rainfall. Our satellite is showing those storms that just passed through our area all the way up into the current time. Our wind is kind of a little bit all over. We are in 0 miles per hour in Tallahassee, all the way down to 16 in West Palm Beach. You can kind of see the wind is making a swoop towards the east coast, or the west coast, excuse me. Our dew point in northern Florida is sticking around 74, 73 degrees. And in the south, it is around 77 in Miami. Our radar is showing the storm starting to go away. In our area, you could see a few spotty showers down in the south for tomorrow. And all the way into Saturday, you're going to see more rain bands start to come in throughout most of Florida. Tonight, our current forecast will be around low 70s and high 70s actually in Miami. Throughout the day tomorrow, we are going to stick around high 80s, low 90s throughout much of Florida. And today's almanac, we are going to bring it to Tevin to take a look at that.
Thanks so much, Sammy. Yeah, we've got a great forecast planned for the weekend once we can get rid of some of this rainfall. Today, the high 89 degrees. Usually we're at 88, so guess what? We can pretty much say we are right on the mark. The low 72, though, usually we're at about 67, so a little bit above average for this time of year, but that's okay. We'll take 72 out of that. Currently, right now, we're at close to our low of 75 degrees with some light rain. Dew point's at 74 with humidity at 96%. So we talk about the rainfall doing a good job of clearing us out. It's about 6:20 right now, a little bit after 6:20. Usually we're in the 80s. Nowhere near it right now thanks to the rain and the cloud coverage. You can see that on the satellite and radar loop right now, showing you those thunderstorms popped up around the noon hour today. Some convection later on around 2 to 3. The sky started to, really just pour. Essentially, we had some nice outflow boundaries, a few lightning strikes too. Not sure if those were cloud to ground or intra-cloud, but they were certainly a sight to see. Currently, right now, elsewhere in the Big Bend, a lot of other cool temperatures too, thanks to that rainfall. St. Mark's at 76, Monticello and Tallahassee, Quincy as well at 75 degrees. Bainbridge, not quite cool just yet. Maybe some cloud coverage, but not rain-cooled air. They're at 81, and so is Thomasville right now. Look at this 24-hour temperature change. This is what rain and clouds will do for you. We are 7 degrees cooler right now. Valdosta is 14 degrees cooler, and Mariana is also 13 degrees cooler. So everyone feeling somewhat of cool air right now. So maybe like a nice little night to go home and cuddle up and watch some TV. Starting to feel like fall, really late fall for some parts of the country is what that would feel like. Winds coming out of the south tomorrow or today at 10 to 15 knots. Showers are possible. There's a light chop if you're closer to Apalachicola and the bay. Maybe a little bit heavier of a chop due to some of that the convection here and the winds causing that surf to be a little bit rough. Tomorrow, winds coming from the east at about 10 miles per hour. The surf is at 1 to 2 feet with water temperatures at 84 degrees. Tonight's forecast, 71, a 30% chance of showers. Showers likely cutting off around 8 p.m. tonight. Partly cloudy conditions and winds coming from the east at 5 miles per hour. So we lose that daytime heating and start to lose the chance, the potential energy for showers. Tomorrow's forecast, a great time to wake up, 8 a.m., 71 and sunny. By noon, we are warming up to 83 degrees, and it doesn't look like we're going to have too much rainfall, with temperatures topping out at about 90 degrees tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Here's a look at the week ahead. Your weekend forecast, 50% chance of showers on Saturday, a 30% chance on Sunday. In the upper 80s, but the rain chances start to drop down by early parts of next week. We're at 30% chance of rainfall for your Monday forecast. By Tuesday, we're also at about 20% chance of rain and lower 90s. So we're in that time of year, Sammy, where, we start to see the rainfall chances continue to be with us. That's just because, we're in Florida right now. So that's typically what happens. Once we get that daytime heating, we get the better chance for storms. I had to kind of catch my chair there. I'm not used to talking about temperatures in the 70s in late September. I was going to say August for us.
Yeah, and it's now tomorrow as of 4 p.m. It will be fall.
That's
so
right. The official start of fall
summer.
and the official start of the first full day of fall falls on Saturday. The boys of fall will be back. Florida State taking on NC State.
I know. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Wolfpack.
Hopefully we'll get a good game in too.
We don't need the rain. We need the wind.
So make sure you like us on Facebook. Follow us also on Twitter /FSU Weather.
Yeah, we're on Twitter, on Facebook. We're also on YouTube as well, if you didn't see that.
Yes.
Hey, any plans for tomorrow?
I know that tomorrow's Friday night block party.
That's right.
6 p.m.
Starts at 6, and Colt Ford will be the musical guest at Collegetown. It's going to be a great day. Go out, cheer on the Seminoles, get ready for Saturday's win, hopefully, against NC State. Before that, I'm student meteorologist Tavin Wooten.
And I'm student meteorologist Sammy Squires.